Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. We got some soccer today. We got a little bit of SportsLine picks with some hockey, some other stuff that we don't always have, and of course, some NFL plays as well. Let's see how we did yesterday on the recap screen. All right, we'll take it. That's 2 winning days in a row. 4-2, not exactly breaking the bank, but we'll take 4-2 pretty much every single time for our bankrolls. Of course, I've got some bets pending. One main bet, a matchup that hasn't even started yet, by the way. And I'm looking at my phone. I believe it was Aaron Rye over Matthew Pavon. This starts at, I think, 10:46 a.m. So if you want to get that in, don't pay more than minus 150 on that. I've got a first-round leader on Justin Thomas. And then, of course, a winner bet with Sahith Theegala. That's a winner bet without Scotty Scheffler markets. All right, let's bring in the stars of the show. We got a great show. First of all, we got a great show because you all are in the chat. I see you, Moshe. I see you, Isaac. So many of you in here, including Anthony Bailey, Aaron Bailey, Brian Smith, and of course on this show, we've got Buckets. We've got Larry Hartstein. Buckets, how you doing today?
I am doing well. I could just hope that I can replicate what the guru did yesterday. He's my mentor for a reason, so trying to fill some pretty big boots there, as they say in England. We'll see how I can do here.
Nice. Guru is the best. Larry Hartstein, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Sia, despite the fact that Alex and myself let the team down yesterday. Everybody else picked us up for a 4-2 day, so I appreciate that a lot. I also appreciate the live chats that are going on in the Discord almost every day now. You'll be doing one tonight at 8:30 p.m. in the Discord. Danny Brasco tomorrow for UFC 310 in the Discord. Mike McClure on Saturday for all the conference championship games. So you got to get in the Discord to check it out. And one other thing, we got a big announcement coming Monday.
Oh, I love that. I love that tease. Yeah, I'm looking forward to 8:30 tonight. If you all want to ask me something, my understanding, Larry, is it's kind of like an ask me anything situation. So it can be sports or non-sports related. So I'm all about that. Larry, am I right on that, or is it just mostly sports?
Yeah, some people were curious about Alex and his lifestyle and how does he get his action down? And, is he recognized in casinos and things like that? So, yeah, it can stray off topic.
All right, fair enough. We're happy to do that as long as we stay between the lines there, folks. All right, Buckets, I do want to get your pick, but I got to read Eric David's shout out. He's one of the biggest early edge supporters for so many years, and so many of you in here are that description, including Mark and Joe Neuenfeld and some of you that I'm seeing your comments right now. But Eric says, can I get some good vibes for my friend Mike Hughes that is currently undergoing triple bypass surgery, pulling hard for him today more than any fantasy team or prop bet? Well, that certainly makes sense. All right, well, we're all pulling hard for Mike Hughes. Maybe if he's listening, but even if he's not, Mike, wishing you the best. All right, Buckets, wishing you the best. That's an awkward transition with some soccer picks. Let's talk about a couple of plays for the pitch.
That's a tough transition, but we are all keeping Mike in our thoughts here. Eric, thank you for the shout out and letting us know what's going on there. Hoping for the best there. And I'm also hoping for the best, also bad transition, with my plays this evening, because we're going to start with the Norway Elite Serien relegation battle between, I know this is going to be funny, it's a team called Moss, just M-O-S-S. Moss taking on Haugesund, and we're taking both teams to score. In any Norway relegation battle, it is a 2-leg feature in which both teams get to play once at home. Haugesund is the much better team, but if Moss wants any chance of getting promoted, they have to score in their home fixture in this first leg. I love both teams to score here at minus 125 because, frankly, I was prepared to get this out at minus 150. Sia, we always love when what we think is going to happen is different than the actual lines. Then for my second play, we're going to the Portuguese Primeira Division in a matchup between Moreirense taking on Sporting. And Sporting is a team we've talked about a billion times on the show. They've got Victor Gyökeres with that iconic celebration. They had manager Ruben Amorim, and this was a team that was unstoppable. But they lost their manager, and since they lost their manager, they're now coming off a loss and a draw. Two things that had not happened previously this season for Sporting. This is still a really good team with really good attackers, but they're a little bit shaken right now, and you can see they're struggling to produce the results that are expected of them. I'm going again here with both teams to score, currently at plus 105, plus numbers for both teams to score, because I think we're getting Sporting numbers for the old Sporting under their old manager. I still think they win, but they're defensively just a little bit shaken right now. I love BTTS in both these fixtures.
All right, and remind me how to pronounce, give me the second game again so I can pronounce that M word one.
Moss?
No, the second game.
Oh, okay. Moreirense. Sorry.
Moreirense. Yeah, I can do Moss.
I would hope so.
Moss is on the easier side of the soccer picks you give me. I got to be honest, this chat is kind of on fire now. First of all, there's probably 100 people that are wishing the best for my cues and putting it in the chat. And I really appreciate everybody doing that. A lot of boy band talk. Joe Neuenfeld said before the show or after the show yesterday, he listened to 3 hours of boy bands. That sounds magical. Blue Cat says, tell me why, which is pretty funny. And Steve Lochner says he's got the flu, but he's still here. He's doing his best. He wants everybody to like this stream. And he says, this is the A-team today. Me, Larry, and Buckets. We're the A-team. Speaking of A-teams, we've got more picks on SportsLine, right? And so we've got a couple of picks. If you remember SportsLine, you've probably already seen these. So let me give them out right now. We've got Radford. Yes, Radford -3 at -112 versus North Carolina Central. That's at 7 o'clock tonight. And then we transition to hockey. We're taking, this is a little juicy, and that happens in hockey, right? We're taking the Hurricanes money line -147 at home against the Colorado Avalanche. Both of those SportsLine picks are at 7 o'clock today. James Valdez says, Moss, easy to pronounce. Yes, indeed, it sure is. If you want to take that Moss pick, any of the picks you just heard or the picks you're about to hear, go to BetMGM. But I do have to say it's Thursday night football, and we've got that standard Thursday night football first touchdown betting promotion. We've all had our first touchdown bet called back before, and BetMGM is giving you a second chance with BetMGM's Pro Football Second Chance. Place any first touchdown score bet, and if your player doesn't score first but scores second, get your entire stake back in cash, no opt-in required. Here's how it works. Place a pregame straight first touchdown score bet in any NFL game. If your player scores the first touchdown in the game, you win your wager as normal. If your player scores the second touchdown in the game, you'll get your stake back in cash. It's that simple. Log into BetMGM for more details. All right, well, we got to get to some Thursday night football. We got early edge prime time tonight. We got me at 8:30 talking whatever y'all want to talk about, maybe some live bets, but we got to talk about some pre-flop bets in Thursday night football. We're going to do it right after this message from our partners. We're back on the early edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Larry, I know you're clicking away at the chat. Much appreciated. Why are the My Cousin Vinny and because I'm not caught up, the My Cousin Vinny and Caddyshack reference, airplane references? What's that coming from?
No, well, Grant Marshall said he was busy doing his TPS reports, and I wondered, is Office Space the best comedy of all time? And that's what got us going.
Oh, that is wow, that's a great subject. I see somebody put in Naked Gun in there. I mentioned Airplane. That's a really good one. Blazing Saddles from Taylor DeHart. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, you've already seen the chat. Put your favorite comedy of all time. I don't even know that I have a definitive answer. Buckets, before I give out my pick, I have to hear.
It was gonna happen.
Yeah, what is your favorite? The man who doesn't know who Al Pacino, or who was it? Al Pacino, or who was the other actor?
Niro.
There we go. Robert De Niro.
Bad. Yeah. I will say my favorite comedy is actually a movie from before I was born. So it's the one old school thing I know, and it's Tommy Boy. Chris Farley, anything with Chris Farley, I will watch forever. I think he's amazing. Chris Farley was amazing for sure. We've got Happy Gilmore in here, Dumb and Dumber. Tommy Boy's a good one. All right, Larry, before I give out my pick, you have a prop in this game, and you're going to give it out after I give out my pick, but I think there's really compelling arguments for each side of the ball. I have a side in this one. I wanted to do some props, but the whole week I was on a particular side. Do you have a lean one way or the other? I know not an official play. Do you have a lean one way or the other? Packers Lions +3.5.
Yeah, I like the Packers side, despite the injury report that came out that said no Jair Alexander, no Romeo Doubs. I just think the injuries on the Lions side are more significant, and the health of Jordan Love is significant. He was not healthy for that first matchup, and you also have a system play when you lose the first game at home and you go on the road in a revenge matchup against a division rival and you're a dog. That is a play that has cashed many, many times, but I would only be comfortable at the 3.5.
All right. This chat is on fire right now. Anchorman, Talladega Nights, anything with Will Ferrell. Scott Wise says Police Academy. It's also Scott Wise's wife's birthday. Scott, let us know what your wife's name is so we can give her a proper birthday shout out. All right, Larry did my homework for me. He really did, and I was expecting him to because I've been on shows with him earlier in the week, so I figured he was going to stick to his guns. I also like the Packers +3.5. If you remember SportsLine, you saw this pick. I put it in maybe 45 minutes, an hour ago. And this is one of those situations where I think Larry spoke to something that's not really being talked about. Obviously, we can talk about the injuries on both sides of the ball. I think the Detroit injuries to their front seven are a little bit more compelling. But I think what we don't appreciate is the fact that Jordan Love has really had a checkered season so far, but it's partly due to some like weather affected games, but also to his injuries. And I do think, Romeo Dobbs not playing in this game, that does affect my analysis a little bit, but I think Jordan Love is healthy, gets optimal conditions. I think we're going to start to see a Green Bay Packers team that we saw last year in the playoffs, where they're really clicking on offense in optimal conditions against a Detroit defense that, yes, on offense, Detroit's going to move the ball and they're going to score. But I think this defense is going to get chewed up a little bit in spite of the fact that their secondary is actually quite healthy. It's the front seven that I think is a really big problem. I think Josh Jacobs and the short area passing game, guys like Jaden Reed, I expect to have a big game. I actually looked at his prop. It was over like 56.5 receiving yards. I didn't get there with him, but I like the Packers plus 3.5. I think it's too many points. I think a backdoor cover is very much in play here as well if they don't outright win this thing. So I'll take the Packers. This is the first time I'm fading the lines all year, as far as I can remember. So it's not like I'm the guy that was taking the lines when they were playing the Colts like everybody else was. This is the time for me to jump on the lines and fading them. I'll take the Packers in a division game plus 3.5. All right, Larry, I did mention you have a prop in this game. It's your turn, sir.
Yeah, I was really torn on Josh Jacobs, whether to go rushing or whether to go receiving, because I think he has a great matchup in both. So I just went combined. I got this at 88.5. I'm seeing 90.5. I would still go over, but I wouldn't go any higher than that. And if you had to pick one at the current numbers, I'd probably lean towards only receiving. But let's just talk about first his rushing matchup. The nose tackle, DJ Reader, is gone. Josh Pascal, another defensive lineman, he's out. Another rotational defensive lineman is out. Malcolm Rodriguez, the number one run-stopping linebacker in the NFL, has not missed a stop, not missed a tackle all season in run defense. He's out. Anzalone is out, and on and on and on. There is no running back in the entire league who runs more between the tackles than Josh Jacobs. Leads the NFL in attempts up the middle, number 4 in yards after contact. So, and we know he gets the workload, 22 or more touches in 3 straight games. And in terms of the receiving, you have linebackers who are not good at coverage. You have a very makeshift linebacking core when you've taken out Barnes, you've taken out Anzalone, and now you've taken out Rodriguez. Some of the guys that they're going to have to play are terrible in coverage. So I just love Josh Jacobs' matchup. I know he was listed with a calf injury, limited this week. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think he's going to get his normal massive workload. I love him over 88.5.
All right, Josh Jacobs over 88.5 rushing and receiving. Buckets, are you aware of the names of the quarterbacks in this matchup?
I was going to say I'm actually down for a little INT play if you guys are up for it. It's Jordan Love and Jared Goff, right?
Wow. Okay, homework. Yes.
Yeah, I took me about 30 seconds to get my soccer plays. It took me about 2 hours to learn the QB names this morning, but I'm down for an INT play if you guys are.
Let's do it. What is it?
Before I flip the coin, I just want to say that Snug the Cat said the Guru and Buckets Footy Adventure would be the best buddy comedy of all time. I just want to agree with Snug the Cat. I think that's a great shout there. I also want to say, tails, so Jared Goff to throw an interception.
Wow. I love it. That's certainly going to help my play, maybe help Larry's play as well. Scott's wife's name, I might mispronounce this. It's Lynn for short, but it looks like it's Leonard or Leonard, probably Leonard. I don't know how to. I've never seen that name before. Very unique. But Lynn, happy birthday, courtesy of Scott and the team here. There was a really funny comment, Larry, yesterday that was so funny. And by the way, if you have any questions on Thursday Night Football, go ahead and ask away. We'll try to address them before we adjourn. But don't forget Early Edge Primetime tonight. Paul L., who I don't know if Paul is in the chat. I don't see his name. When we were doing the boy band thing, and we were just going through all the boy bands from the 90s and the 2000s and whatnot, Paul L. wrote, "Hey, it's EK, a.k.a. Eric Casillas. There is a new UK band that you just have to hear. They're called the Beatles." So if anybody doesn't get that reference, you missed the best show in Early Edge history. It was 2 Tuesdays ago, and the Eric Casillas late to the party references are still coming in show to show. So I just appreciate everybody that is making those references. Those are always very, very funny. I think, Larry, is there anything? Oh, actually, Buckets, let me go to you first. Anything on the pitch that you need to address in terms of a question?
There's actually 2 Premier League games today, but these midweek fixtures have been pretty tough. I will say that I have 2 plays for one of these matches, the Fulham versus Brighton match, but that is going to be on the SportsLine website, so you'll want to check out the article there. If you want a lean in the Tottenham game, I do like Spurs over 1.5 team total, but that's just a lean. It wasn't good enough to be one of the early edge plays.
All right. And Larry, anything, I know you were kind of addressing some stuff in the chat, typing away there. Was there anything you needed to bring to light here?
Yeah, I mean, the one other prop that I'm really looking hard at is Jameson Williams. No Jair Alexander in the backfield for the Packers, so it's going to be tough for them to match up defensively with the Lions. I don't think the Lions are going to have a ton of trouble scoring either. I think both teams are going to move the ball very efficiently. But Jameson Williams at home, he has been exceptional in those perfect conditions, over 79 or more yards in 4 out of 5 home starts, and you can get him right now in the high 40s. I think that's a really good look. I also like his longest over 21.5 because he's such a great deep threat. So those are a couple I'm looking at.
Yeah, I agree. I do think this is ripe for, I hate to be like the chalky guy, like overs with a lot of the receivers. I mean, running backs too, don't get me wrong. Josh Jacobs, we'll see what happens with Jahmyr Gibbs. That's something we can talk about, or people can talk about more at 7:15 with what happened with the fumble and the picture he put out on social media and all that stuff. But I mean, Jameson Williams, like maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson. I all think they're live to, or I think they're live to have big games. Not all of them, but certainly maybe a majority of the 5 that I just mentioned. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was on Laporta last week, and it didn't come through. It was very frustrating, but he did get 2 touchdowns, and he does look a lot healthier, and his number is only 37.5. It's a pretty good matchup against the Packers in terms of how they deal with tight ends, so that's another one I'd be leaning over on.
Okay. Joe Neuenfeld says, Coming to America, top 5 comedy all time. I think I agree with that. But for some reason, Superbad, Larry, I didn't ask you your favorite comedy. Maybe you mentioned it already. Forgive me. Superbad is just ringing in my head as like the top comedy. Even though I'm surprised I'm saying that answer. Larry, what's your top comedy all time?
I got to go with My Cousin Vinny, just because, when I'm sick at home, I have the flu or something, and I need distraction. That's what I always go to. So I'm gonna go with that.
Very, very interesting. All right. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we finally get out of here. I'm on the Packers plus 3.5, or if we want to put it in Coming to America terms, the Packers of Green Bay. Plus 3.5 at minus 115. Larry Hartstein in that game. Josh Jacobs over 88.5 rushing and receiving yards at minus 125. Don't forget early edge prime time at 7:15 tonight with the crew. Buckets, Moss, Haggerson, both teams to score minus 125, and Morency Sporting, both teams to score at plus 105. Sportsline picks Radford minus 3 at minus 112, and the Hurricanes money line minus 147. Joe says, oh my goodness, thank you for that, Sia. There's so many references from Coming to America. When you think of Akeem, think of trash. Or when you think of a trash, think of Akeem. See, I messed it up. All right, I'm on the spot. I messed it up. All the hangover, says Aaron Bailey. Paul L. is in the chat. He says, I'm just here for the pronunciations. Paul, hopefully you saw me or you heard me shout you out like 5 minutes ago for that comment yesterday. And Brad Betts, thanks for correcting me on the pronunciation. I can't do it. I'm gonna need Buckets to step in here on all these recap screens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a great Thursday. We got a lot of content coming. Me and Mike McClure are going to be on Fantasy Football Today, DFS at 11. There's a network show at 12 o'clock. We're going to cover football and NBA and all kinds of other stuff, including futures. And then, of course, we've got Early Edge Primetime tonight. Either way, whether you can join us or not, have an amazing Thursday. On behalf of Larry Hartstein, Buckets, Jake the Snake, always on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. I'm the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge, and we rest our case.